Alright folks, what is up? This is One Big Bugga and I'm coming at you with Euro Truck Simulator 2. Fingers crossed that this works right now, as I've been having some severe frame rate issues and I don't know why. It has been really bugging me. I've done a little testing after changing up a couple things and it seems to be working, but time will tell. Not 100% sure if it'll continue to work. Can only hope. Anyways, let's get going. I've already picked up our trailer, which is a short, lightweight trailer. You can see it in the back there as I turn. Oops, pressing the wrong buttons. Now, I expect some lower frame rates while in town. That's not a surprise to me. But I'm talking, I was dipping into the 20s while on a regular road. I'm talking, I was dipping down into the teens and even single digits when it got real bad all of a sudden. And I'm wondering if it was because something was running in the background that shouldn't have been. I found an NVIDIA settings that was running with an exclamation point next to it. Now, this was not a you need to update your driver's exclamation point video, NVIDIA settings. This was in the task manager. I've already closed the NVIDIA experience, which drives me up a wall, because I just update my driver, and it's like, oh, well, you just updated your driver, here's another driver, and you need to update to this. So you know what the fuck I do right now? Alright, you know what, dude? I'm just gonna go around you. Hopefully. Oh, now you start speeding up. Of course you do. Yeah, but anyways, it was, like, really bad. So, I bugged out of that. And at the moment, I seem to be fairly okay. So that may be the issue. I may have to go and look for that. Did you really need to slow down that much? Whatever. And so anyways, I'll really need to look into that every time to make sure that's off, because that does seem to be making a bit of a difference. I just don't know. I mean, my computer's not a beast, but it's no slouch either. Alright? My processor's a little bit old, but it's still a hyper-threaded Intel i7 950. 3 point... I think it's something like a 3.7 gigahertz. Processor. And hyper-threaded means it has 4 cores, but it acts as if it has 8 cores. I bought a really high-end processor, which nowadays, compared to the processors out there, really isn't all that great. But it should still be able to handle this, no problem. And I'm also running SLI GTX 660s, which should be able to handle this just fine. So I don't know what's causing all the issues. Because, again, I can run this at 60 frames per second easy when I'm not recording. So it has something to do with the recordings. It really does. Maybe it's the speed of the drives. You know, I don't know. I don't know. I just know it's really fucking annoying and I was supposed to go that way. Well, actually, I don't think it matters. I think this is one of those ones where it sent me down the side road and then would have just brought me straight back out on the same road. Whatever, dude. Whatever. So I'll let myself get up to speed here, because I have a feeling we're going to be doing a lot of highway running again, which is fine by me. I enjoy highway running. And then I'd like to talk a little bit about wrestling, because I am getting back into it a little bit. There we go. We are up to speed and cruising. So, I finally got to watch Raw tonight, sort of. And I hope I'm not getting an ear infection. I know I'm getting a little off track. But my ear hurts straight through to my tooth. And that's usually a sign I'm getting an ear infection when that happens. Or either that or I've got a bad tooth and it's starting to bother my ear. But my ears were draining into my throat not long ago, causing me to cough quite a bit. So, there's that as well. But anyways, I'm not, when it comes to wrestling right now, I'm not overly enthused with it, but I am interested enough to keep tabs on it. You know what I'm saying? And when I watched it today, I gotta say, the matches, pretty good. I love what they've done with the women's division so far. I love what they've done bringing in cruiserweights again. I think that was a huge move. As a matter of fact, with a little luck and fingers crossed, the cruiserweight division gets its own show. It becomes popular enough to get its own show. Maybe do something like an NXT with it, where you take it to smaller venues. But when I say its own show, I mean on TV. I don't mean like just on the WWE network. That would be really awesome. I'm recording this very, very late at night, by the way, so chances are I'm going to yawn a lot. And this will be the only video today, just because I'm recording late at night. But yeah, anyways, I love the cruiserweight matches. It's nice to see that switched up, high flying, faster pace again. All the matches throughout the card were pretty okay. Getting a little tired of the Sheamus Cesaro angle that they're doing. For those of you who don't know, and even explaining this to you if you're not a wrestling fan, maybe like a little bit, but still. Sheamus and Cesaro were supposed to do a best-of-7 series. They'd wrestle 7 matches, and whoever won the series would get a title shot. No promises to what title, but just a title shot. Well, the series went even at 3-3. They were in the tiebreaker series at the Raw pay-per-view last night, Clash of Champions, which I didn't see. And from what I understand, though, it was kind of a bogus ending where the match ended in a draw. So neither one won, neither one lost. Ergo, negating any championship hopes for either one of them. Pretty bogus ending. And so tonight they had them wrestle as a tag team, which in all due honesty was a decent match, but after seeing these guys wrestle 7 times, it just became too much to see them together. Even if they weren't competing against each other, they were competing with each other on the same team. You know, they were partners. It still just didn't feel right. They need a break from each other unless they're going to keep them as a permanent tag team somehow. Which could be an interesting storyline. They've wrestled each other so hard. They know each other really well. Each other's moves, how they work, how they feel, that they eventually end up becoming a tag team, but they're kind of like an odd couple tag team, where they don't really like each other, but they do kind of respect each other. It could be an interesting storyline if done right, but unfortunately WWE is not known for doing storylines correctly. But beyond that, I'm sorry I'm sniffing so much. Part of it now is because I'm tired, so I apologize. It's just going to be right now. But yeah, the WWE is not known for handling storylines all that well. Let's see, what else? I want to talk about the main event. The main event was, if I remember, this was the main event. It was Enzo Amore and Big Cass versus Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho, which I believe is a throwback to their SummerSlam match. Again, it was a great match. Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho work really, really well together. They really play off each other really well. They're both very, very good. But putting them up against Enzo and Big Cass again, and this would be the third time that they faced off together, these two teams. And Enzo Amore and Big Cass lost for the third time in a row. This does not sit well with me. Enzo and Big Cass have been set up to be this, or at least at one point was set up to be this very dominant tag team. Yeah. And now it's this way. But they were set up to be this very dominant tag team. They were running over the other newer tag teams in the WWE. They were becoming top dogs, and then they got their shot at the title, but it wasn't a one-on-one shot. It was this whole group tag thing where they had multiple tag teams vying for the titles at once. And then they kind of did this six-man thing with AJ Styles, John Cena. It was John Cena, Enzo Amore, and Big Cass versus AJ Styles, Luke Gallows, and I forget the name of the third guy, basically known as the Club. And then after that, Enzo and Big Cass did the whole thing with Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens, and that fell to the side. Enzo's been jobbing to Jericho quite a bit, in singles and in tag teams, and at this point, to me, Enzo and Big Cass have lost a lot of their push, a lot of their luster behind them, and I'm not sure why that would be done. Because Enzo is, seriously the most charismatic guy on the roster, on either roster right now, SmackDown or Raw. He is easily the most charismatic individual on both sides. He's like Roddy Piper charismatic, quick thinking. He's just that damn good. So why they're burying him? Because he's actually very skilled in the ring for a smaller guy. He really is. And I don't see why you'd bury him so much. And Cass looked like he was being pushed to the moon at one point. Big Cass, he has this really good look about him. Sorry, my throat is bothering me. But he has this really good look about him. We're going straight for now. But he has this really good look about him. He has some really good athletic abilities. For a big man, he can move in the ring. He's powerful. And when you put things, being able to move, good strength, good abilities, with a good look, you really have something that you don't find too often. You know, we're looking at a very young Kevin Nash right now, in terms of where I see him. You know, Kevin Nash, maybe an Undertaker when he was in his Badass series, but younger. Cass is just really that good. And I think it's just going to be a little bit of time before he develops a better moveset, gets a little better at selling, which he needs to be in my eyes. But he can already cut promos by himself pretty well. You know, he gets overshadowed by Enzo in promos, which, you know, anyone would get overshadowed by Enzo in promos. But Big Cass can hold his own on the mic. However, having them job out constantly at this point really diminishes their power. They come out, the crowd goes nuts, they confront who's ever in the ring, they talk big, they talk smack, they crack jokes, and then they lose. You can't keep doing that to these guys if you want them to be important down the road as a team. You know what I'm saying? You really can't. And unfortunately, in the match, they pulled the same spot twice. A spot, if you don't know, is when they do a particular move that's supposed to lead to something particular in the match. In this one, Big Cass charges the ropes, and he kicks who's ever on the outside of the ropes down off the ring to the floor. And on the first one, he tried to do that to Chris Jericho, and Jericho pulled the ropes down, and he toppled over the ropes, thereby hurting himself. And then they did again when Cass was doing a big comeback thing. Enzo and Cass were doing this big comeback deal, and he went for the same boot and again went over the ropes. Although he did connect with Jericho, he still fell over the ropes again, which is really not well. Is it here? No, it looks like I'm supposed to keep going. Man, this shit's confusing. So, yeah, I don't know how well that worked out for other people, but I didn't greatly appreciate it all that much, if I'm to be honest with you. You know, it could have been better in my eyes. Easily could have been better in my eyes. We still are having minor frame rate issues, just so you guys know. So I gotta do something like that. And for you, the scene probably jumped a little bit. It's because I did a quick pause on the video. And I gotta change what button does the quick pause, because it activates my emergency brake and I lose like momentum and gotta re-catch it up. But anyways, I can understand having to have them lose. But see, here's the thing. When you go into a match, it kind of helps to think that the other guy could possibly win. But Enzo and Cass were in against Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is the WWE, is Raw's heavyweight champion. I'm sorry, I call it the heavyweight championship rather than the Universal Championship. It just sounds better to me. And I know I'm drifting lanes here, I know. It just sounds better to me to call him a Universal Champion over or to call him a heavyweight champion over Universal. That's just the way I am. I love the arrow pointing back the other way, trying to confuse me here. But the long and short of it for me right now is it helps, like I said, to think that the other guy could have a chance to win. But when you're in there versus a Universal champion, the heavyweight champion, and you're in there against Chris Jericho, who's being made to look really, really strong right now, who hasn't really lost, and is being pushed as a top heel. Well, you really don't think that Cass and Enzo are gonna win, and they didn't. As soon as I saw them come out, I was like, man, they're gonna lose. This is gonna be like round 3, and they're gonna lose. And even when it looked like Enzo might be able to pull out the pin on Kevin Owens, I was just like, yeah, not going to happen. And it didn't. And Enzo ended up getting pinned again, which for me was very, very depressing, you know, because I love Enzo and Cass. I love them. Probably my 2 favorite wrestlers in the WWE right now. You know, all the old guard is pretty much gone. All right. He's not retired, but The Undertaker pretty much does WrestleMania. All right. Nowadays, he didn't even do SummerSlam this year. You know, usually, The Undertaker does 6 months and is off 6 months, works 6 months, off 6 months. Now, The Undertaker hasn't been seen since WrestleMania, where he faced Shane McMahon. And that don't sound weird enough. Pay the toll here. The Rock has long since retired. Mick Foley is retired. He's working as a commissioner. Austin doesn't wrestle anymore. Kurt Angle hasn't come back to the WWE. He's still wrestling, but he's not back in the WWE. And for whatever reason, they haven't brought him back, which I really think they should bring him back and put him on SmackDown to help solidify SmackDown as a more mainstream show rather than to be thought as just a B show. You know, Triple H, he gets involved every so often, but for the most part, he stays out of things other than being a commissioner or, as they like to call themselves, authority figure. So yeah, it's a lot of the main old guard is gone in lieu of all these newer guys. As a matter of fact, the only guy still there from like the golden age of wrestling, you know, Shawn Michaels is retired as well. Ric Flair is pretty much retired, finally. The only guy still there is the Big Show. And even though Big Show's not wrestling right now, he's pretty much already announced that his last match, his very, very last match, is going to be at WrestleMania versus Shaquille O'Neal. Sorry, I don't mean to keep coughing. My throat's bothering me something bad. But yeah, Shaquille O'Neal is going to be Big Show's final opponent. So, yay, fun. Well, that's pretty much going to be the last guy from the old guard. There's not going to be anyone left after that. You know, they come in once in a while. Kane still pops into the ring every so often. Like I said, Triple H pops into the ring every so often. John Cena managed to come in on the tail end of the golden era, basically. What I like to call the golden era, the attitude era, the extreme era, whatever you want to call it. And he led the charge for the PG era, but even John Cena's being played down pretty hard right now as well. So, yeah. A lot of things have changed, and we have all these new faces, which I think is really great. But when you start... I know I'm meandering right now, like I said. Part of it's because just the time of night. So, excuse me while I zip around you here. Thank you for getting out of my way. Not going to matter because toll booth ahead. Okay. You know, to get off the wrestling thing right now, I hope that whatever's wrong with me right now isn't serious. If it's a tooth problem, I could be in quite a lot of trouble. If it's an ear infection, I'm not in quite as much trouble if it's a tooth issue, but I'm still in pretty bad trouble. One thing I am worried about is I've had whatever this rash is on my leg, and it's been spreading. It hasn't spread up that I can tell, but it has spread down along my leg. And there's no telling if this thing's gone internal on me. I tried to set up an appointment at the Greater New Bedford Health Center, which is not far up the street from me. But they won't see me until I'm on Mass Health. And I'm like, why? I have Medicaid. It's government-wide, and it's provided through United Healthcare, but it's still... And... ticket. Yeah, I knew that was coming. I could have hit my brakes, but I was like, I'll just eat this ticket. Even though I shouldn't, because I lost a lot of money thanks to not being able to make that delivery. Again, I really just don't feel like breaking my momentum right now. But yeah, whatever's wrong with me, I hope it has nothing to do with that rash. I mean, most likely it doesn't. There's probably a very, very tiny, small, infinitesimal chance that it could be the rash, but it just makes me nervous because despite having medication that looks like it is helping to dry up and kill this rash, it's still spread down my leg. And I'd rather not have to go back to the Toby Hospital to get it looked at again. Because I just feel bad having to go to the hospital. Unless it's a really true emergency. So I'm supposed to go see the benefits advisor at the Greater New Bedford Health Center, and they're supposed to help me transfer over to Mass Health. But it's actually getting there that could be an issue, because I'm supposed to go with my mom's doctor tomorrow. I'm supposed to go with my mom to see her doctor tomorrow morning, or actually by now this morning, and we're not going till 10. My mom, then we gotta be there at the doctor's and come back. We're probably not gonna be back till around 12, maybe even a little bit later. And the guy's only there till 3 o'clock, and I have to attempt, mind you, I said attempt to walk there. Yeah, don't drift too much, please. When I drift like that, it's because I'm adjusting my chair. But yeah, I need to attempt to walk there. That's not what I meant to do. I'll do that. I actually want to do F6. Oh yeah, we still get time. And it's not really that far, but it's not all that close either. So, and having to walk there and then walk back, I'm going to be fucking exhausted. But what else can I do? You know? I have to get onto Mass Health so I can start seeing doctors, and I can even try and set up to be able to get rides to and from my doctor's appointments. So that way I don't have to walk unless it's like a hospital visit. And then I can either get someone to take me or walk to the hospital, which is a bit far away, to be honest. At least for me to walk. For the average person, it's not that far, most likely. But for me, it's a bit of a tough walk. But, yeah, I'm really... Yeah, I don't know. I may just try and set up an appointment. I think maybe what I'll do is I'll try and call tomorrow and set up an appointment to see a doctor. And I won't tell them about my United Healthcare. I'll just tell them I have Medicare, which I have. I have Medicare. It's just with a company known as Mass Health. And while I'm there, I can talk to a benefits advisor because I have Medicare. It's Medicare. It's just that rather than being done directly with Medicare with the red, white, and blue card, I chose a benefits provider that... Well, this is basically how it works. Rather than the government paying for my medical expenses, whatever's paid, out for my medical expenses, what the government does instead, it's like my Part B medical expenses. What the government does instead is instead of paying out for the Part B, they send that money to United Healthcare. And United Healthcare provides me with health insurance through Medicaid. It's strange, but trust me. That's pretty much how it works. Okay? But anyways. Whoa, too fast. Much too fast. We're also going to need some fuel before our next round ends. This round we're okay. Yeah, definitely a lot of highway running, for sure. Which is fine by me. Toll boost, toll boost, toll boost. Talk about the bane of my Euro truck existence. Excluding frame rate issues. Yeah, pop outside the truck, take a quick look while accelerating. That tiny trailer. Tiny trailer on that heavy hauling truck. Well, we're not really heavy hauling, are we? We don't have a big engine yet and the full cab. But still. Anyways, I just may try that. Call and set up an appointment tomorrow. See what I can get. Hopefully, something. Yeah, well, Mr. Police Officer. Again, I apologize for the coughs. They only just started. And probably because I'm talking a lot. Are you seriously another toll booth, like, right the fuck up here? You are, aren't you? Well, this one looks under construction. Is this one I'm just going to be able to zip through? Would be nice. Look at that. Zoom. I'm just tired right now. Really feeling run down. We could probably go a little bit longer, so I'm going to bypass this rest spot and then rest at whatever the next rest spot is, regardless. So I'm going to fall quiet for like the rest of this vid. Not like silent quiet, but there's going to be those long pauses where I don't talk. Just because I really am sleepy. I'm going to get this thing uploaded and then get my ass to bed so that I can be ready for my mom tomorrow to get to a doctor. The doctor could be a hassle. I'll talk about this a little bit. Apparently, he always gives my mom a hard time when she comes in. She brought in a list one time where she wanted to talk to him about a lot of the problems that she's been having. And the doctor looked at the list and said, well, why don't you just choose out what's most important? We'll talk about them because I don't have time. Excuse me? You don't have time to talk to a patient? Well, Mr. Doctor, if you don't have time to talk to a patient, then maybe we need to find a doctor who does have time. And find a different doctor. I'd really like to be able to nail this guy down, though. I mean, my mom does have problems. I watched her go into a muscle contraction fit. Basically, it's believed she has Parkinson's. And she has been taking medicine for it, but that medicine, at one point, she was having bad pains in her stomach and in her back. She ended up having blood clots in her urine. A couple other things that said this medicine was doing bad things to her. And she called her doctor and asked about it, and the doctor said, no, it's fine, keep taking it. But wanting a second opinion, my mom called her pharmacist, and the pharmacist said, no, it's hurting your kidneys, stop taking it. So yeah, that's an issue. Plus, my mom, her throat will flex close. She'll be eating, and suddenly she just can't eat anymore. She can't swallow. You know, she just can't swallow anymore. She has to stop eating. She'll lose her voice randomly. She'll be talking, and, you know, particularly around supper, and then she just can't talk anymore. Her voice just goes away. She throws up randomly. She gets the dry heaves randomly. She'll eat something and then she'll just start heaving, but nothing will come up. Or worse, she'll eat and then about a couple hours later she'll just suddenly whoop, throw it all up again. Did I pass another rest spot? I don't think I did. We definitely got to watch for one now. Yeah, but she just throw it all up randomly. Just boom, gone. There's some days she's in tremendous pain. Other days where she's okay. This does not bode well for me finding a rest spot soon. Especially with slow traffic. Must look at map. Yep, I've got myself in a bit of a bind because I think that rest stop's a little too far. And I don't think I passed one anytime soon. So what we're going to do is we're going to get off the highway here and go to this rest spot. Matter of fact, I'm going to mark it on the map. And it wants me to continue up and... Well, shit. Because rather than go... I guess it would go this way. It's just going to tell me to go this way instead. And you know what? That's fine. So that takes me past the rest spot. And the rest spot's a gas station, so we can fuel up while we're there. We got the small trailer on the back, so this really should not be an issue taking this corner. Yeah, chill. We're stopping right up here. Okay. Get some fuel. And find a place to rest. Go. It looks like we got some parking spots right over here. Sleep. And the loan installment comes in, taking me down quite a bit. That's right, we're going to make money soon, plus our driver is on the road, so. Alright, folks, so that's going to be me done for this episode. Only one video today, just because of how late I'm recording, and I really don't have time to record American Truck. Besides, I haven't gone and gotten that other truck modded back into the game. But yeah, that's going to be me done for this episode. I hope you've enjoyed watching this as much as I've been enjoying bringing it to you. Until next time,